Yes, this is DJ Ski.
I'm Jeff Wilson.
Hey guys, Andy Broom, Vice President of CGC Cards.
Hey, this is Jason Howarth with Panini.
Yo, I'm Q Harrison.
Hey gang, this is Tom Verrilli. I'm the Chief Product Officer at Whatnot.
This is Teapot from Sports Card Investor.
This is Adam Rips with V-Friends.
What's up? This is Aaron from Slab Stocks.
Hey, this is Clark from 5 Card Guys and the Cards to the Moon podcast.
Hey guys, this is Jay with Wild Card.
What's up everyone? This is Duke Dodson from Graybows.
What's up everybody? This is Chris Kelsey from Nash Cards.
What's up everyone? This is Mark Hill from My Card Post.
This is Ray Schulte.
This is Chase Krim.
This is Cody from Texas Roadshow Shop.
This is Mark Aaron from WSB Radio in Atlanta, and you're listening to the Sports Card Strategy Show.
I'm loving the content.
Loving the content here.
I'm loving the content here on the Sports Card Strategy Show.
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 And I'm telling you, the Sports Card Strategy Show.
This is the Sports Card Strategy Show with your man, Paul Hickey. What's good?
Be sure to subscribe for year-round advice on keeping your portfolio up to date.
Part of the NoOffSeason.com Sports Card Network, the #1 place for advice on how to make money flipping sports cards. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, there is no off-season.
There is no off-season.
There is no off-season.
And there's no off-season.
You already know, there is no off-season.
No off-season!
All right, you ready to rock?
Ready to go.
When you get into this game, the reason why you pay someone like Paul Hickey to get your sports card strategy together is because sometimes when you're starting out, you need perspective, you need wisdom, you need insights. And so he's been around the track enough times where he can actually coach you up and guide you. Doesn't mean he's going to take you to the promised land tomorrow, but you now have a coach by your side that can advise and kind of even create these pathways where you can get the education yourself. And that's a lot better than thugging it out on your own. Thugging it out on your own.
What? The kids better buy my rookie card now, because after this year, the price ain't coming down.
Welcome in, everybody. I'm your host, Paul Hickey. It's time to sit back, listen, learn, and earn with me on the Sports Card Strategy Show. What's going on? NoOffSeason.com family. Super happy to have you with us here to help you make money flipping sports cards. Hope everybody's ready for another week of listening, learning, and earning. Lefty McKee, my partner with me as always. What's up, brother? How you doing?
Dude, I'm good. How are you? We just talked about I've been running all day, so I'm like high on caffeine. Let's freaking do this, bro.
Let's go. Let's go. We're all hustling. We're all grinding. We know all of you are too. It's the hobby that we all love. Today, we're going to talk about some PSA Vault auctions versus your own eBay account auctions. We've got obviously some data analysis from the Victor Wembanyama injury that we reported on. We talked about it in the premium podcast last week. Topps Chrome football release. We're going to talk about that. Lefty and I have our plays of the month. This is going to be a very value-packed show. We've also got our L's and W's from this past month and an eBay tip of the month pulled from our very own sports card school at nooffseason.com. Are you tracking your sports card inventory properly in 2025? Sports Card School and our inventory tracker help you to do so. Just go premium at nooffseason.com. Lefty knows this. There's multiple pricing tiers and still that free 30-day trial option. And we talked about it on the premium pod on Friday. Lefty, it's only 82 cents per day after the free 30-day trial. So, 82 cents per day? For 365 days? That seems worth it to me. What do you think, Lefty?
Dude, I know I'm making more than 82 cents per day on sports cards, honestly. So, and that's that. I'm not just saying that. I'm not fabricating those numbers. I have been moving cards over the last 3 months, Paul. This has been the most consistent buying and selling I have ever been. I am not a full-time card flipper, but I have full time, if you know what I'm saying. So I've been really grinding the past couple of months, and so man, just 82 cents a day. Call your local. It's just, I don't even know where I was going with that, but it's so like
nooffseason.com. nooffseason.com. 82 cents a day after your free 30-day trial. Okay, back to the Sports Card Strategy Show. What's up to Pick Six Cards? Jessica Kimberlin, Terry Anderson, Andrew McDade, Brian Bartunek, Chris Law, Arturo Torres in the live chat. We've also got people over on Instagram at Sports Card Strategy. Jay Millie Rocks, Perry Sports Card, Peaceful Pulls, Dinged Corners, L. Smith, Halls.co. That's our guy Jake the Guardian, who's back in the lab at nooffseason.com. Jay Fleming 5050. JC Sports Cards, BGB Sports Cards, CM Trading Cards and Collectibles, the Michael J. Wilson Troche, who is a premium member of nooffseason.com, and the 713 Collective. Lots of premium members of nooffseason.com in the live chat today. I'm sure they'll give you testimonials as to why you should join. But Lefty, let's get into our first topic here. Victor Wembanyama, the news broke on Thursday that he has deep vein thrombosis, which essentially is a medical term for some type of blood clot. And it's in his arm or his shoulder or something like that. It doesn't really matter. What matters is he's out for the season. So how does this affect his sports card pricing and what do we do about it? We're going to get into this more in the premium podcast because a lot of our premium members have already asked what I'm going to do since Wemby is one of my 5 players that I'm investing in 2025. But I do want to point out that his 2023 Prizm Silver 136 Raw was selling pretty consistently before the injury for the last several sales were over $400. And since the injury, 356, 286, and 245 is the most recent sale. So pretty significant drop off from 475, which was the high sale pre-injury news, to 245 just a few days later. This is the Raw. And the formula will be updating. You know, we'll be updating the formula-based sports card rankings at nooffseason.com to tell you whether or not this is still a raw to grade play. But I have to believe initially with the raw price dropping so much that there's going to be money to be made on a raw to grade for this Prizm Silver, even while he's out injured. But Lefty, you have a story about his Prizm Silver PSA 10. Care to tell it on the Sports Card Strategy Show?
I don't care at all. Yeah.
Premium members at nooffseason.com. They got it first. So
yeah, I don't care at all. So the news broke about the thrombosis up Thursday morning, I believe, and we were about to do a podcast. Immediately jumped on, or maybe it was Wednesday night. Anyway, I roped on and I was like, guys, I have bought a PSA 10 Wemby Silver a week ago. Like, this is a problem. You know, like I bought it at $800 thinking that was going to be a steal, that I was going to flip it for $200 and, you know, in a couple months when they make the playoffs, and I was going to make it for $1,100 or whatever. I thought it was going to be great ad. They had just added Fox, all this. Come out, thrombosis happens. I'm just like, oh man, what am I going to do? I made the decision after a bunch of discussion on the premium pod with Paul that I think that instead of holding the card for another year, knowing that I can get that value back out of it in a year, I decided to cut my losses for $100-ish over the next couple of months and be able to put that money back into another, lick my wounds a little bit, if you will, get back in the game. Because, Paul, if we know anything, if for $86 or $82 or cents a day or whatever,
82 cents a day,
there are other moves that I can make $100 plus on, you know, in the next 1 month, much less the next year. Imagine if I had $800 tied up for the next year, Paul. No freaking way. I'm going to be putting that into other assets. Sold it for $700 on eBay, which came out to about a $600, after fees and everything I got back. So I'm actually down $2, which I still feel comfortable about. But then if you look at the chart of his Wemby Silvers, I just want to point out this really quick. I'm going to share this to the screen, but I'm going to read it for those that are listening to us on Spotify or Apple. Look at these numbers. 789. I bought in around this 833, 850 mark. I bought in for 800 around here. This is in the last week. You've got not only is it dipping down, but I just want to read this to you. you're it's like 3 sales, 5 sales, 5 sales, 5 sales, 4 sales, 4 sales. As soon as the news happens, you ready for this? 5 sales, 7 sales, 8 sales, 8 sales. People are selling these. The point is they are removing. And so like people are willing to say, I will buy back in. They're following, or maybe they're not saying I will buy back in, but they are willing to say I'm out right here. Which because
this card went for $950 on February 3rd. The PSA 10.
Imagine buying it at $950, selling it for, I don't know, $709, then taking fees out of that. That's a big loss. But what it's making me excited for, Paul, is let's run this back out 90 more days. Where does this go from here? Because I imagine that, there's a small jump to 720. I imagine that that's like a false high, and it's just going to go, and we're going to see maybe 600, 650 on this card, maybe 500 again. I'm excited to be buying back in, and I think that's going to be very, very fun.
Yeah, I do not disagree. There will be more to come throughout the year on this, but this is a card that I am following closely. If I can snipe an auction at under 650 or under 600 at some point over the next 6 months, that's going to be money. Money. Because
that's a fun day,
when he comes back, and he will come back. When he comes back, that's a selling marker.
We talked about that in our group chat. I would love to hear you dialogue that.
Well, you'll hear me dialogue it at some point on the premium pod. So everybody's got to join. 82 cents a day. Get in there. All right.
You sneaky mom.
Topps Chrome football release. Speaking of our group chat with Interner, you guys sent over this Caleb Williams, Jim McMahon commercial, which is pretty cool. I don't really want to talk about the commercial. Let's just say the commercial is pretty badass. What I want to talk about is Topps Chrome football. So Topps Chrome football is out, and I am going to throw out a big word of caution to everybody here.
Where are you going with this?
I think that, this is why what I'm about to say is why our show is unique and why we actually help people make money flipping, and we help people stay in the hobby. And when you're making money, you're not losing money. And when you're not losing money, chances are you're having more fun than when you're losing money. And that's why we do what we do, because we want you to have fun. We want you to stay in the hobby. We want the hobby to grow. And we want you to make smart decisions. And a lot of people, whether you're a longtime listener or a new listener, a lot of people get super excited, put a bunch of money into a new release, only to not get the lottery ticket that they're looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and get on a quick soapbox here, and then I'm going to bring it back down to earth, give you a quick take on why I'm not excited about Topps Chrome 2024 football, and then hand it over to Lefty. So my soapbox is I hate that Fanatics is promoting breaks. So they own Fanatics Live, which is a live shopping platform focused primarily on breaks. So many people in the hobby are becoming addicted to breaking. It's bad. I hate it. And when you go to buy into Topps Chrome football, you see right here before you get into being able to buy the value box, and the hobby boxes, hobby cases, mega boxes, and mega cases are already sold out from Topps. So you got to get them on eBay now or the secondary market. Maybe David Adams, maybe Steel City, blah, 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 whatever. You can still get the value box. But here's the thing. What do you see right above that? Join live breaks on Fanatics Live. And it's promoting this Topps Chrome release. And what does it have right here? A Tom Brady autograph Superfractor 1/1, right? I hate this because, first of all, new people in the hobby fall for this. They think, oh, 25, I'm going to get $25. This is just as bad, if not worse, than the DraftKings, FanDuel, and all the other sports books in terms of people becoming addicted to this, people losing money, people having to dig themselves out of a hole. Lefty, how many times, real quick sidebar here to give Lefty some airtime. How many people do we get asking us on the premium pod for our help breaking their breaking addiction, as well as helping them dig them out of the hole from all the breaks that they've wasted money in?
Yeah, I mean it's most of the people that are in there. We're doing BA, Breaks Anonymous.
Yeah, Breaking Addiction Anonymous, basically.
Yeah,
Lefty's right.
We're running a support group.
So I mean, the commercial's cool, but what is it promoting? It's promoting the inscription signatures, which of course that's what I would promote, right? And at first glance it seems harmless. It's like, oh, you've got Caleb, and I love Jim McMahon, so I'm actually excited to see. He was one of my favorite players as a kid, believe it or not. Even though I grew up in Detroit and I was a Lions fan, I love the Jim McMahon. The Lions sucked until they got Barry Sanders. Before they got Barry Sanders, I was a Jim McMahon fan. Anyway, point is, commercial seems harmless. It is harmful, however, because it's promoting these cards that no one will ever get. Like these people, like, I mean, 99.9 repeating % of you are not going to get these cards. So what are you going to do? You're going to waste a bunch of money trying to chase after these cards, or you're going to buy singles that are going to come down in value. The other thing that I hate about this release is, and we were talking about this in our group chat as well, I put it out there, but from a sports card strategy perspective, this actually really, really hurts the Prizm release that just came out. And I've been throwing the word of caution out about the Prizm release, saying not to buy in because this Topps Chrome release and other releases were coming. But Lefty, if we look at the Topps Composite Football 2023 that had Topps Chrome in it, that absolutely murdered the value of all the CJ Stroud previous cards. Now, CJ Stroud's performance didn't help, but that was really the Topps Composite came out before Stroud started to suck in 2024. And his Prizm PSA 10s and his Prizm Silver PSA 10s started coming down in value. And now, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you and Turner send me like a screenshot? I think you sent us a screenshot in our group chat of like a CJ Stroud Topps Chrome PSA 10 that sold for like $3.
Yeah, that was
on
Turner.
eBay. I mean, so word of caution, everybody. This is not me. This is actually not my rant anymore. This is like based on historical data. Not only will this Topps Chrome release, good thing it's not Topps Composite. That's the one thing that Fanatics did well this time around. They didn't make it frickin' Topps Composite. It's actually Topps Chrome. So bravo to that. Otherwise, this sucks because it's going to bring down the value of all the Jaden Daniels stuff that people have bought. It's going to bring down the value of Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams. There's going to be 1 billion more rookie cards for these guys, and their market's not going to settle probably until October, November of 2025, which ironically enough may be when I announce who I'm buying for 2026. And maybe it's Jaden Daniels at that point. But until then, I would avoid this.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Topps Chrome football release has never been the release that I've been like jacked about, other than maybe one card offs and stuff like that. I mean, when we first did the raw to grade strategy on the CJ Strouds, I think that was that was a fine time to do that. I think if you're going to, in a couple of months, look for the Chrome singles of Caleb Williams for a raw to grade play, maybe the data is there, and that's what you need to look at first. Don't just blindly just go into a raw to grade strategy with Caleb Williams Chromes. But I will say, Paul, I think the autographs are sick. And I'm just like, the fact that he like did a bunch of inscriptions and the video and all that kind of stuff, I'm like, yes, this is actually what I think that the hobby has been missing over the past couple of years, is like the Topps and Fanatics are rolling the ball down that direction the way that we wanted it to go 3 or 4 years ago when we heard the news that Fanatics was going to take over Topps and buy them out and all this stuff. We were just like, maybe this could bring national media attention to some stuff that we're already on. And that is the result. This is the result of what we were talking about 3 years ago. Maybe, yeah, it's coming with some things that we're not excited about, like a breaking addiction, but like on the other side of things,
yeah,
it's really cool. And I am excited about it. And I do think the autographs look good and all this kind of stuff. And there might be some single autos that I end up buying at a later date after everything else comes out and everything that will be worth money in that release. I'm not saying I'm never going to touch this release, but right now, not excited about it.
Yeah.
Other than the way that they've mediated it, I guess, or whatever, marketed it. There we go. Mediated it.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I think I'm, and what's up to baseball card curmudgeon in the live chat? I'm a curmudgeon when it comes to this stuff. I get your point of view. And I think that like most of the rest of the hobby would agree with you. I think I'm probably in the minority coming out and saying
just the Dave Ramsey of sports cards.
This is trouble, guys. I mean, this is trouble. Like this is, and Jessica Kimberlin is a premium member at nooffseason.com. What's up, Jessica? She is a licensed independent counselor. Maybe we need to tap into her services, like give her some referrals.
Yeah.
I mean that, like, I'm not, I don't mean to make light of this because there actually are some people like with some serious problems related to this. So for real, like I just kind of look at this and I go, oh boy, here we go again. I love the firm grip, clean sig, can't lose. I love the inscription. I'm a big Friday Night Lights fan. Coach Eric Taylor. I get it. Like, it's fun. It's cool. Like, mad props to the Fanatics, Topps, or whoever was part of the marketing team or the ad agency or whoever, the creative department that came up with this. Easily one of the best commercials I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Agree with you, Lefty, on your point about, probably good for bringing new people into the hobby. My thing is, I want to be where new people in the hobby come so that they don't get effed. Because they've been going these other directions. They've been getting effed. Maybe they find us, maybe they don't. Maybe we can help them dig out of their hole. But if they don't find us quick, they're in some deep shit. Because like this is problems. This is wasting a lot of money. This is creating a lot of problems for people. And oh, by the way, like I guess a quick little turn here on it to bring me off of my soapbox. Turner brought up a good point in our group chat. He's like, look at the gem rate data from the Topps composite from last year. So I looked it up. CJ Stroud base.
It's bad.
33% gem rate. CJ Stroud. There was another CJ Stroud, like maybe this is the refractor. One of them had a 27% gem rate. One of them had a 33% gem rate. Either way, that's bad.
Yeah, Chris Law just talked about it in the group chat as well, or in the live chat, where the PSA gem rates on the Panini Prizm this year are 17.5%. So it's like, we just got to be careful, man.
Oh man, is it back to 2021 where you could not find a PSA 10 Trevor Lawrence anywhere?
Yeah, dude, that was a tough season. I bought one Trevor Lawrence card and it looked like my dog chewed on it. So,
yeah, the centering would look like your Caitlin Clark Panini. More to come on that. Rookie of the year. I'm talking about that later. So, all right, Lefty. Another thing you and I talked about on Friday Premium Pod was I wanted to call it out today for everybody, because we're talking about the PSA Vault a lot in our content recently. PSA sent out a email, in case you guys didn't catch it, updated pricing structure for the Vault. A couple interesting things here. Starting March 17th, PSA Vault withdrawal rates and eBay consignment fees are changing. They're saying lower eBay fees for most tiers, no more $5 minimum seller fee, which is great because, I mean, look, if you sell a card for $4, you'd like at least a couple bucks for that. Before, as Lefty and I pointed out, like you wouldn't get anything if it sold for less than $5. New PSA Vault withdrawal rates. Now, but the biggest takeaway here, and Lefty's already taken advantage of it, I think, is they say to ease the transition, and this is kind of in the fine print, which is why Lefty and I wanted to call it out. To ease the transition, PSA is waiving all early withdrawal fees until March 17th, 2025, which basically means if you've got anything in the vault, you can get it out, I think, for just that $1 a card shipping thing, right, Lefty?
Yeah. And I did this. I did this recently, this week, because I had sent on this show over the past 6, 7, 8 months. I've been notorious for saying I'm not keeping cards. If they're slabbed, they're going to the vault. Like, that's just so easy for me. And so the fact that they're going to have lower eBay fees is even better for me, honestly. And so, but I did have one card that I was confused about. It popped as a PSA 3. I've looked it up and down on the pictures, and it's a Caitlin Clark. Now, I have some other Caitlin Clarks, like this one, that is the worst off-centering card you've ever seen. She's probably almost not even in the picture anymore.
Her head's cut off.
Yeah, this is bad. And it's sealed from Panini. Like, this is still sealed. So it's a bad one. And I ended up getting my money back for this one, actually, which is pretty cool. But there was
her
one
head's
of them that
not
came
supposed
back.
to be cut off, for those of you that
her head's like this far supposed to be in the picture. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway, I got another one that was a PSA 3 that looks well centered, and corners and edges look fine. And so I want to know what's the deal here. So I spent the $1 to get that PSA 3 sent back to me. I might crack and resubmit. We never know.
Hey, nothing like wasting extra money on a PSA 3. Props
nothing
to you.
like it, you know?
Way to get that 3 back in your hands. Kind of like the Marvin Harrison Jr. Score Retreat PSA 7 that you bought
Which
from
I
me.
sold for $4 more than I bought it from you.
Awesome. Love
That's
it.
a win, baby.
Okay, are you all confused by grading your cards with PSA? Sometimes I am, but you can grade with us at nooffseason.com. Send us your cards. We do the hard part and save you money. Also, we track your gem rate for you. It's kind of fun to look at your grading dashboard as a member of nooffseason.com and see what your gem rate is. So yeah, check that out. All right. How much was that a day, Lefty? Do you remember?
82 cents.
82 for only 82 cents a day. Okay. Time for play of the month. I'm going to go first. So my play of the month is I'm only buying 5 players all year. And this gentleman, I haven't really talked about as much as some of the other players I've been buying, but I bought this 2018 Bowman Chrome Shohei Ohtani batting raw card from a Probstein auction. It ended on 30 bids, and I got it for $291, which, Kendall the Lefty McKee, I want to show you the data here now. I got it for $291 raw, and this little sucker raw went for as high as $455 last week raw. And it sold a couple of days ago for $383 raw. So I'm sitting here going, how did I get this great of a deal on this Ohtani card? It looks good. I've got it in hand right now. I've got it in a stack of a grading submission I'm about to make after the show ends. Now, in a PSA 9, it goes for $375. Average in the last 30 days, though, $394. Baseball season is not even really here yet, so that could go up. And then PSA 10, average in the last 30 days, 1,030. So I did get this from our formula-based sports card rankings at nooffseason.com, only 82 cents a day. And I'm liking it. I mean, I like the card looks like it could gem. Even if it doesn't gem, I could still be breaking even or even making money on it, depending on when I get it back and what Shohei's doing and all that stuff. Another thing that's interesting, I put this in the show notes as like, maybe this is a potential backup plan, but like if I send it into PSA and it gets a 9, maybe I crack it and send it to SGC, and SGC 9.5 sells for around $600. So there's not, this doesn't happen very often. Actually, this could be something that we explore further. But when you get a card where you can get smack dab in the middle of a PSA 9 and a PSA 10 is the SGC 9.5 sale price.
Nice. Yeah.
Maybe that's maybe we call that the backup plan play.
That's like really the best case scenario.
Right? I mean, I don't really see that very often. Do you?
No.
Where the SGC 9.5 sells for like
the data very rarely lines up that pretty.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm feeling pretty good about this play of the month.
That's a nice card. Honestly, too, Probstein typically gets more viewership than most other cards, and so you actually have to pay a premium for Probstein because it's similar to PSA where it's an auction house and they have a lot of eyeballs on their auctions and things. I have found that I have actually spent more money on a Probstein card just because I know that it's not some guy that's just pulled it and just like stuck it in an auction. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I was thinking too. I was like, I know some auction houses have better reputations than others, but I think I've heard the same things about Probstein that you just laid out there. So I'm thinking, man, good reputation from a seller. Card looks like it's in potentially. I mean, I really don't see this getting less than an SGC 9.5.
When you pulled it up, I was like, well, that's a nice card.
I could see maybe it not. I mean, obviously, like you never know if you're going to get a PSA 10 for real. So if it comes back as a PSA 9 or something like that, maybe. My thing is, I'll talk more about this in my L of the month. So anyway, let's go over to your play of the month, Lefty. What are you doing here? What are you cooking up?
I'm cooking here, Paul. I am cooking actually, and so I have been going to the mill, if you will, on these two plays, and I have been working really hard to try to get something and going where they ain't by also trying to relearn a strategy from not just setting and forgetting something I've done in previous years, but trying to learn, build on what we're doing, like just continue to learn and earn, like listen, learn, and earn. I'm doing that too. And so here I am in 2025 with not very many prospect autos to sell in March and April because I have found out like that's really a more of a risky play than I really wanted to do at this point in my portfolio stuff. I have sold a bunch of my Roman Anthony's and Xavier Isaacs and a bunch previously. I haven't bought back in yet to some of those guys. I spent a lot of money this year on Cooper Flagg, so I didn't have a whole lot of money to like move into other baseball prospects in January like I normally do. So I'm like, okay, is there still baseball plays to be made? And I've made a couple. And so here is some data on two of which that I really like going into spring training, which is different than what I have done previously. Two plays I like going into spring training. The two players are not typical for me because they are already in the majors and they're already superstars. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Ronald Acuna Jr. These are two guys that I am in on, and let me tell you why. I have enlisted my two younger compatriots, Turner Schaus and Jake the Guardian, on helping me with some data. And so some of this stuff that you're going to hear is from Jake and Turner's awesome research, R&D work for us in the background. But Vladdy Jr. will start here because I think it is the not as solid play as the Ronald Acuna Jr. I'm going to leave that one for last. Vladdy Jr., listen to these data points that Jake's pulled up. 4 straight All-Star appearances at 25 years old, a Golden Glove, 2-time Silver Slugger, All-Star Game MVP, Home Run Derby champ. That's amazing, first off. Potential for a new market of collectors since the Blue Jays failed to re-sign him and give him an extension this week. He'll be a large target for a lot of competitive teams, may get traded in July, but will for sure be in the free agency marketplace unless he signs an extension if he gets traded this year to a different team. Toronto has said they are putting it on the shelf till the offseason. He will test free agency. That's good for cards. We've seen that already. Usually a tough grade pre-raw 2020 card. This is a 2016, and then there's a 2019 Topps Chrome. His first Bowman and Topps rookie, unless they are very top prospect. What Jake is saying here is typically in those 2 years, the cards that have not been graded already are dinged up because they've just been thrown in a box. Vladdy was a high enough prospect at the time that we believe, just like the Aaron Judge card that we have in the formula, we believe people respected the card at the time. Therefore, they probably put it in a one touch or a top loader at the time. Therefore, if they still are raw and in a one touch or a top loader or a card sleeve or something like that, it has a better chance of being kept well, because they knew that these were high prospects at the time. It's not like they came out of nowhere and surprised everybody. That, like, Vladdy Jr. was a big guy when the card came out. And then Jake says, I personally like to stay away from base cards. So this is his opinion. But since there is a lot, there's not a lot of upside here in a PSA 9. But Vladdy's first in a 9 is not too bad, and there's plenty of upside in the PSA 10 if a raw to buy in strategy. So the cards we're looking at here, there is a tough ROI on the first Bowman Chrome base. It's only at 2% with a target cost of $15. But if you look at his Topps Chrome Auto with a very high gem rate of 79%, the target cost is $150 with an ROI of 50%. This could be a 3-month, 6-month, or 9-month selling marker. There might be 3 different chances to sell this card, depending on if he gets traded in July, and because he could be a rent to own to a competitive World Series champion. The tough part is there's not that many of them. That's where I say, like, this is a card that I'm not as excited about as my second play for my play of the month. I know I cheated and had 2 plays of the month, but they're kind of similar. The play here, though, Paul, is you're going to have to be really vigilant. You're probably going to have to buy these from a local card shop. There's not that many online. Trust me, I've already looked on eBay. I've already looked on ComC. I've kind of done the research already. There's not that many of them raw. If you can, try to get into them. I am actually willing to wager that you buying them already graded, a graded to graded strategy, would still also be a play. The data is not there necessarily, but you can say from a historic standpoint of like what we used to do, there is solid selling markers in the next 3, 6, and 9 months. Makes me confident that it wouldn't be that much of a risk.
2019 Topps Chrome Auto, very high gem rate, 79%. Target cost 150, ROI 50%. That's, to your point, very hard to find, but good stuff there. Great stuff there from you and Jake. Well done.
I think I will save the Acuna talk for later in the episode, I believe, unless you just want me to go right now, because it honestly ties in for my W of this month as well. Do you want me to send it now?
Just save it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, save it for the W. Okay. I mean, there's so many great tips on this show for everybody. This is why you listen to the Sports Card Strategy Show. How about you give us a tip? Go to tips.sportscardstrategy.com and donate whatever amount you can to help us continue to bring you great sports card content regularly. Tips.sportscardstrategy.com. Or you can get an extra weekly Friday premium podcast for premium members only by joining nooffseason.com today. 82 cents a day. Also, don't forget CGC Cards is the perfect place to slab your favorite sports cards. From their crystal clear holders to their affordable pricing, CGC Cards is the perfect stop for your PC grading needs. Go to cgccards.com to start grading today. And also, speaking of that premium podcast on Fridays, we've got CGC head grader VP Andy Broom answers your Ask the Grader questions on that premium pod, which is very, very valuable. Andy does a great job there. Shout out CGC Cards. All right, Lefty, I'm going to go to my L of the month from the past month, and it's the Caitlin Clark Rookie of the Year card. I'm not even going to really waste any time getting there. We've talked about this card quite a bit, and it's time for me to basically take an L. I bought 50 of these and did not do very well. The PSA 9s are only selling for, ouch, between $10 and $19 for the PSA 9s. And then the PSA 10s really are only selling for around $40 at the highest point. So they're just really not and yes, the grades suck. There are just not many 10s. Like barely any 10s, very low gem rate. So it was a bit of an L. It could have been worse, but it's not what you like to see, because when you got these print on demand card. Now, I will say like 9 out of 10 print on demand plays that we make are big time W's. And I'm going to talk about one in my W of the week. So don't worry, everybody. But this, I just have to take an L where you get an L. And then I've got a second L of the week. So for those of you that remember me talking about going to Culture Collision and basically selling a bunch of cards that were kind of on the way down, and then moving into some Michael Jordan star cards that I was going to crack out of BGS slabs and submit to PSA. One of them, I decided to treat myself to something that I've never done before. I decided to treat myself to a 5-day turnaround at PSA because they had a February special, and it was a big enough card to do this with. And I got grader notes. And legally, there's actually verbiage for those of you, heads up. There's verbiage from PSA. You're not supposed to reveal your grader notes. So I'm not going to reveal my grader notes. But I will say that the grader notes are not very impressive from PSA. It's basically like less than a sentence that you get. You don't get like, it's not like tag where you get like a full report of your card, like the technical grading service tag. The L here is I bought a 1985 Star All Rookie Team number 2 Michael Jordan. It was in a BGS 7 at Culture Collision for $1,250. 9.5 centering, 9 corners, 9 edges, but surface 6. Okay. So it was a BGS 7. Now it came back a PSA 4. Yikes. Which I was very, very disappointed. You guys all know, if you've ever graded with any company, you know the disappointing feeling of like, man, I thought this was going to be a 9 or a 10, and you got a 6. Or, in my case, I thought it would be a 6 or a 7, and it was a 4. And so I think right now the PSA 4 is valued at around $1,000. I think what I'm probably going to do when I get it back is I'm going to get it back. Like it's on its way back to me right now. And I just sent it in last week. So they did do the 5-day turnaround. That actually happened. The grader notes are underwhelming. I know there's a surface issue with the card. I knew that already based on the BGS subgrade. I think I might crack this out and send it back to BGS because BGS 7s. I'll give you an example. I'll give you like an overview of what this card. Okay, so in a PSA 7, this goes for like $2,500. So that's what I was shooting for. That would have been doubling my money, basically. One sold for $2,500 actually. Now a PSA 3 sells for $1,000. So I'm not, and I bought it for $1,200, and now it's a PSA 4. So I could actually just get my money back. I could be made whole. So this might not be an L, right? But I'm thinking, look, this isn't a timely play. This is a Michael Jordan 1985 star. So why not? I mean, a BGS 6.5, which is a half grade lower than my 7 that I cracked. For those of you watching at youtube.com/Paul Hickey, you can see my label here that I kept. A 6.5 sold for $1,536. So I would make money. I would still make a little bit of money, even if I sent this back and got a lesser grade from BGS. But what I'm thinking could happen is, maybe it just comes back with the same grade, and then I auction it off, and a BGS 7 hopefully goes for closer to $2,000, and I still make money on it. But Lefty, okay, before you get to your L of the week, what do you think I should do with this Michael Jordan card?
I think you should sell it in a PSA 4.
Okay.
I don't think you should spend more money if when you told me, the 4 or the 3 goes for $1,000, I was like, oh, dude, you could just get out what you have in it.
I could.
I wouldn't spend more money sending it back to another grader.
Yeah, I mean, I think the upside of doing that could be a couple $100 if
it comes back a BGS 4?
Well, that would suck.
Yeah.
It would be on another L of the week for sure. So yeah. I mean, but I think
I'm gonna bring this card back up for a second. One thing that there it goes.
Sorry, I stopped sharing my screen. That was my screen. You were gonna I can bring it back if you want. This in the meantime,
I would like to show. This is what drives me insane about PSA. You spent extra for this card. If you'll pull back the picture.
Did you see how it was crooked? Is that what you were going to point out?
Yes.
It's freaking crooked.
This is what I call a rattler. And this is, I hate having a rattler. And what that means is your card moves inside of the slab. If you're getting a card slabbed, Paul, it needs to stay freaking slabbed.
It's ridiculous.
It shouldn't be able to get worse condition if you go like this. And that's what happens. I hate that. Why don't they just freaking put it in things that's not going to move? Dadgummit. See, okay, I hate that, dude. Your card, this star card, is going to move up and down in this little. It's its own kind of jiggler, if you will. This is a rattler PSA submission. This drives me insane.
That's why I might crack the fucker out and send it back to BG. I mean, it sucks. It's crooked and it's rattling now.
Golly, I hate that.
The centering on this thing is perfect. BGS gave it a 9.5 centering.
Well, it's going to have boo-boo corners after
now
it gets to
have
you.
Boo-boo corners and edges.
Golly, sorry.
Freaking
I got
PSA,
freaking nonsense.
No, you're right. I'm glad. See, you noticed that, and I was already down about it, and that was but I'm glad you brought it up because that's another part of this L. It's freaking crooked in the slab. Come on, PSA.
You paid extra.
I paid extra.
They should make it look good.
I paid, just so everybody knows, all in, the grading fee alone was like $168.
And they gave it to you in a rattler. Do better, PSA. Do better.
F you, PSA.
I'm a huge fan, but do better.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
All right.
All right.
My L of the month.
Huge L for Paul Hickey. Lefty, what's your L of the past month?
Also big L for Kendall McKee. Wembanyama. I know we've already addressed it, but that's my L. That is an L. Like I had to knowingly take an L, a $200 L on a card that I bought a week earlier than that, thinking I was going to be able to make a $200 flip. Like that just sucks. Another thing I would also emphasize is I wanted these Caitlin Clark cards to bang. Now, lucky for me, I got mostly 10s. I got
nice.
I got like 75 or to 80% 10s out of my 50. So, and I've sold some of them for $75, $80. I've sold some of them for $40. Like I don't understand why some of them are selling for 40 and some of them are selling for 70, but I'm not asking any questions.
Good work.
Now, it's an L because I wanted it to be the 300 plus, or whatever. Another L, I think, for me goes back to a post that Connor and I made last year, or not a post. We made a pod on the Lefty card stream last year where we talked about all the different Panini Prizm parallels. And look at this Instagram post by Sports Card Investor over the week.
I think I've got it. Oh, you've got it. Okay.
The 2024-2025 Panini Prizm basketball checklist will feature 81 different parallels, Paul. 81. That's ridiculous. Like at one point I think at one point there was like 3 parallels and now there's 81 different ones. If I already don't have problems searching and figuring out what I have and whatever, there's now more parallels. That is a massive L for me. And although I think it could not be as massive of an L for the hobby, for Kendall McKee, Lefty McKee, like guy in charge of Lefty cards, this is a fat L because I want less parallels because the Silver Prizm parallel needs to be more desirable. We need less options, not more options, because more options fuels the argument you were talking about earlier about addiction and all this kind of stuff, like just needing the grind for more Give me less, please. I want less. I want less options. They're giving me more. 81 parallels. Give me a freaking break. That gives me more anxiety than a freaking rattler.
I agree with you. I wholeheartedly agree with you. I think I don't like it. I think it's manufacturing a bunch of chase cards, and when you do that too often, then everything loses value.
You know what
I think we saw it with Select. Did we not see this exact thing happen to Select, and now nobody cares about Select because there's too much crap in it?
This is giving contenders. It's giving
contenders vibes.
Like this is just not good.
No. You mean not contenders? What's the freaking thing called? It's like composite.
Yes, composite. Sorry, yes,
composite. But what's the Panini release? Why can't I think of the Panini release that's like that? Wow, I totally lost.
Where you're getting like a Spectra and something else, and
you're getting all the different. What's the one with all the different brands in it? People are probably screaming at their phones right now, listening to us. Anyway, we'll come up with it. It was one of the first ones I bought into.
Chronicles.
Thank you.
Come on.
The Traveling Panda really just saved us there. Chronicles vibes are now hitting. Composite was definitely Topps' version of Chronicles. And now is Prizm the new Chronicles?
Oh, that is such a headline. Oh my God.
Come on, Mofod Joe. Pull that as a quote.
Joe, that's one of them.
Pull that as a quote for IG.
Is Prizm 25 the new Chronicles? Oh my God.
What's up to Rusty and McGart and Card Snatcher in the live chat? Two OGs right there. Okay, time for my W of the month. Now, Lefty, couple things to go over here. Number one, one of your L's of the month was just simply not as big of a win as you would have liked it to be.
Yeah.
Well, my win was not as big of a win as I would have liked it to be. In fact, I thought I was going to make almost 3 times as much as I ended up making. But at the end of the day, I still made about $600 on the Cooper Flagg #1 card, raw to grade. I mentioned on the show a couple of weeks ago that I got all PSA 10s. Now, and I also mentioned that I was going to sell some via my own eBay account and some via my PSA Vault eBay account. So PSA's eBay account for those of you not familiar. And I was going to do a little comparison and see. And I mentioned at the time, about halfway through the auctions, we had a show, and I said that mine were outperforming PSAs. Do you remember that?
Yep.
Okay. Well, at the end of the day, PSAs slightly outperformed mine. So without getting into all the gory details, it comes down to
gory
on PSA's PSA's payout system. I averaged about a $50 gross payout per card. And on eBay's payout system, I averaged about a $40 gross payout per card. Now, after the card and the grading fees, I netted about $25 per Cooper Flagg #1 card, Bowman U, now PSA 10, $25 net per card off of the PSA auctions, and about $15 net off of the No Offseason Sports Cards eBay account. So am I still happy, and is it still a win, especially when my full-time job is to flip sports cards? Yes. However, I really thought that I was going to probably net more like $60 to $75 per card, which definitely would have brought me closer to $2,000 of a net win on that for a really only a $400 total investment versus a $600 net on a $400 total investment. So still my win of the month though, and still a good way to kind of report back to all of you on, what does better when you auction it off with PSA or when you auction it off via your own eBay account. It's probably always going to depend on the card and depend on the situation and all that stuff. There's still, I think, a lot of positives to using your own eBay account, like a lot of positives. But, for cards like this, where you just have a ridiculous amount of them and they're kind of, they're going to take up your time to pack and ship them, and they're going to take up a lot of your supply budget, then might be nice to use PSA. So that's my win of the month. And Lefty, what was your win of the month? I know you got a lot to talk about here, I think.
I feel a little attacked by your win of the month personally, as my cards are still sitting in order arrived. I have 60 of those sitting in order arrived. I have a fleeting feeling that I'm just going to continue to be kicked in the balls by this play, and I'm going to come back with all PSA 3s, and I'm not going to be able to do anything with these cards, and I'm just going to have to just cut my losses. But I am still going to get a shoe someday with a card with a shoe in it, so that's kind of cool. But anyway, yeah, Cooper Flagg, glad you made money. I honestly thought this was going to be just a super play. And maybe we will see, just like the Caitlin Clark. Somebody suggested in the live chat, who was it? Sparta Sports Cards suggested the Clarks could potentially go up. The Rookie of the Year cards could go up as the WNBA season picks up. I think so, maybe. But also, I think this card, number 1, could go up during March Madness and then also in the draft. But still, the play is made. You've made $25 net per card. If I somehow do end up getting those same numbers and get 25 net per card, I'll make $1,500 on the play, which would be great. Am I expecting that? No. I'm expecting to get just burned by PSA. Anyway, win of the past month, Lefty McKee version. Here it comes. Paul and I went to the well a couple of months or weeks ago saying we wanted to buy back into Saturday Star Prizm. I was looking at these, and then I was like, man, I really like this card. I might want to get back into this. And then Paul talked about it on an episode, and I was like, full send. I'm in. Like, I couldn't find the price point that he particularly was recommending, but I found a price point that I was comfortable with. I ended up getting 3 of them for $640 or $641. So it's like $640 and a half was my average of these 3 cards. The win, though, Paul, and one thing that I would love to your opinion on is one of them. We talked about this a couple weeks ago, and I wanted to bring this back up when I had them in hand. One of them is for sure a silver, and 2 of them are for sure not. And I don't know if you'll be able to pick it up on the screen, but this is the regular one, and this is the silver. Maybe. No.
So for those of you, I can't tell. For those of you wondering, these are the 2023 Prizm draft picks, Arch Manning, Saturday Star signature cards. And I think for the non-silver, I think a good price has been around between $500 and $600. I think even though the formula for the silver, the formula-based sports card rankings at nooffseason.com show the silver going for the target cost still under $700. Certainly, though, the graded silver is going for way more than the graded base non-silver. What Lefty's referring to also, for those of you who are catching up on this, there's no actual designation on the card saying which is the silver and which isn't. There just is a visual component to the front of the card, i.e. a rainbow effect, if you will. So Lefty, back to your win, because sounds like you've paid a good price for all 3 of them and a steal for the silver.
That was my win. Is I was unsure whether it was going to come out. I looked at it. As I looked, I was like, I think I got one of these for a price that I should have not paid for it. I think I got the silver. Or wait, no. You know what I'm saying.
Silver for a base price?
I got the silver for a base price. Now, I've already flipped one of them out. I've already made $40 on one of them. So I was like, okay, I didn't mean to buy 3 anyway. I just sent a bunch of offers thinking none of them would get accepted, and 3 of them did. So I've already moved one of them for a $40 profit. I've got 2 left. I don't think they're gradable, but at the same time, it's like, well, grading that would create the high differential in terms of the silver. It'll be interesting to see how I end up making the decision on this play. But the win is I got a nice card for the price of a base card. And I'm really excited about that, especially when I already was comfortable having the price that I did pay for it if it was a base card. So I'm excited about where Arch Manning's going to take us over the next couple of years. I've already made big money on him this year anyway. The AMA autographs that we made, I made like $200 a piece on those cards, so that's $1,000 profit. And I have 2 of them that are still in grading. So Arch Madness to the moon, and that's a win for me. The other second thing I wanted to talk about today that I teased earlier is the Ronald Acuna Jr. play that I'm on. This is another play that I'm considering. It's a play of the month, but I also wanted to talk about it as a win of the past month for me, because it's something that we've talked about Acuna over the past year or so, over the past 3 or 4 months, talking about, okay, he's coming back from injury. The Braves really didn't impress last year. This guy is one of the top 5 best players in baseball. Do we get back in? Could he be a good play? I'm flag planting saying Acuna is going to be a good play. I think he's going to be a good play, and I think he's going to be a good play if you're buying him right now, if you're buying the right cards. Turner went ahead and did the data for me last night, and if you are buying his Bowman Chrome first, which I bought 6 of yesterday, and that's why it's already a win for me. I'm paying about $19 for these cards. The target price is $19.99 according to the data that we ran through the no off-season formula. If you are running through that, the 2017 Bowman Chrome first rookie, just the regular rookie Chrome, is already coming out at a 10% ROI, and that's the current price of this card. The current PSA 10 price of this card is already at a 10% win, and I like the fact with a lot of the same things that we talked about with the 2017 Topps Chrome Aaron Judge, a lot of the same things we talked about the 2016 Vladdy Jr. earlier today. This guy was already a superstar in terms of media before this card ever hit the market. So this card has been protected most likely. I was able to buy a lot of them, like an actual lot, a lot of cards, but a lot of them, if that makes sense. I've got 6 of these already coming my way. I'm planning to do about 15 to 20 of these Topps Chromes. If I can make a 10% return today, I'm even more confident about what that will be like in a couple of months when Acuna is going to return to stardom. I think this could be a 20 to 25% play, and that's going to be a win of the month for me now because I'm acquiring cards that I like finding. I was able to find them. Like I said, the Vladimir Jr. play earlier, I like that play, but I'm struggling to find the cards. I am not struggling to find 2017 Bowman Chromes of Ronald Acuna.
Love it. Great information there from Lefty McKee. For those of you wondering how you can do the numbers, run the numbers, go to nooffseason.com. We've got a calculator, a raw to grade calculator. So if you don't see your sports card that you're looking at targeting to buy in the rankings, you can run it through our calculator on the rankings page and run the numbers yourself. Good stuff there. Okay, next, we're going to do our final segment of the day, eBay tip of the month. Real quick shout out, though, to Sparta Sports Cards, J.E. Urseth, Andrew Helms, again, Dutch Traveling Panda in the live chat. Appreciate everybody in the live chat today. So here's what I did for our eBay tip of the month. I was realizing that there's a bunch of different ways to combine shipping. There's a bunch of different scenarios to combine shipping on eBay. And so I put together a sports card school video on how to combine shipping on your eBay orders as a seller. I think you're going to want to watch this whole thing, listen to this whole thing. I'm going to play it at double speed because it's from Sports Card School. If you want to play it at whatever speed you want, all you have to do is, again, 82 cents a day. I mean, it's a free 30-day trial. So you could go watch this video at whatever speed you want for free for 30 days if you want. But not just this video, Lefty. There's like 50 other videos just like this one on different topics. Let's get into it. Combined shipping. Combined shipping is actually a very, very important part of the eBay selling process, and it's something you should look for as a buyer. Why? Because you can save money this way as a buyer if you order multiple cards from the same seller. You want to make sure that they combine shipping. So there's a lot of interaction between eBay buyers and sellers, especially when buyers know that they want to buy multiple items from a seller and oftentimes are bidding on multiple items from the same seller. And the buyer communicates and says, do you combine shipping? Your answer should always be yes as the seller. I combine shipping. There's no reason not to combine shipping. It's always something that you can make a little bit of money on shipping still, even if you combine shipping as the seller. So I'm going to walk you through a few different scenarios here. Number one, let's start with how to create an invoice. Because you may need to create invoices when you're combining shipping. There are going to be a couple different scenarios where you will see in your seller hub under orders, if you go to orders awaiting payment, that's where I am right now. So orders awaiting payment. And you can see right now, there's a couple different orders that are awaiting payment. When you want to combine shipping, you will actually see something similar to what you see on my screen right now, but instead of seeing, say, orders with two separate buyers, you only want to combine shipping, obviously, when it's the same buyer. In that case, you would click send invoice, and it'll take you to the next screen, and eBay will automatically take all the cards from the same buyer that you're waiting in payment from, and it'll put it on the same invoice, and then it'll allow you to change the shipping price. So for example, if you were seeing something on my screen right now where this gentleman, Victor Payaris, where if you bought multiple cards from me, say, let's just say for the sake of discussion, he bought two Victor Wembanyama 2023 Topps Chrome PSA 10s, and let's say one was for $95 and one was for $105, you would see $200 here, and then instead of seeing $565 as the shipping cost, you might see something around $12. Well, in this case, it's still going to only charge me if I print my shipping label through eBay, it's still only going to charge me less than $5. So I would go in here and I would change the $12 fee or $11 and whatever cents to say $5.65 or whatever number that was between $5 and $6 that I wanted to put in here, and then I'd click send. So that is how to create an invoice. And you would do that by going to orders and awaiting payment. Okay, so after you are waiting on payment, it's always a good idea to go and see if there's multiple items that have been purchased by the same buyer. And the reason why you might not be getting payment right away is because they might be actually waiting for you to combine shipping. That's very, very common, and for you to get them an invoice. Now, one thing though that eBay has started to do is they've started to automatically combine shipping for you in when the buyer buys. So in this case, you can see these are my orders awaiting shipment. So they've already been paid for, and you can see right here, eBay has automatically combined shipping for Xavier Rodriguez because he bought two of these Drake May cards. Now, what I need to do though is I need to go in and see how much he paid for shipping. So right here, you see eBay combined the shipping, but they did not discount Mr. Rodriguez any shipping. So the appropriate thing for me to do as the seller in this case would be to go in and actually issue a shipping refund to Mr. Rodriguez because he essentially in this case overpaid for shipping. So what we would do here is we could go into more actions and send refund. And you can do an order level refund. And I could, since he overpaid by about $5 in shipping, I could put order level refund $5, select reason, shipping discount. And then you can put a note to the buyer in here. eBay automatically charged you double shipping. So I am refunding you. I'm typing with one hand, so that's why my punctuation is a little bit off. And I'm going to go ahead and do the right thing and refund Mr. Rodriguez his $5 for shipping. So eBay is paying 70 cents of that, and I am paying $4.30 of that. And so now you'll see that under orders awaiting shipment, Mr. Rodriguez, you can see that I can still go get his shipping label. I need to ship him these two cards. And the refund is all set. So now the third scenario, and that was the scenario of buyers paying. Okay, so that was the scenario of buyers paying and eBay combining it in the order. Now there are other scenarios that I want to show you. And now you're looking at my paid and shipped orders. So this one scenario, Cameron St. Amand, was one where I sent an invoice and then discounted the shipping, which was scenario number one, right? Discounted the shipping on the invoice. Now, scenario number two was where I showed you eBay combined the shipping automatically, but did not discount the shipping. So then you need to go in and refund the buyer. Now, scenario number three is where eBay does neither. So the buyer pays for two separate items from you, and eBay does not combine the shipping. And the reason why this is significant and different is because in this scenario, you have no indicator that you can actually only buy one shipping label. Because if you go through and you don't realize that it's the same buyer, you might pay for shipping twice when in fact you could have paid for shipping once. And then the reason why this is important is because your buyer may ask for a discount. Your buyer may say, hey, I noticed I bought two cards from you. They were two separate orders because you didn't combine shipping and neither did eBay. And now I'm in a situation where I've double paid for shipping and I want you to credit me back, like refund, like I did and showed you how to do in scenario two. But now you'd be screwed because you've already printed two shipping labels and paid for two shipping labels and or already shipped the cards. So in this case, what you would do is you would have to manually notice, and this still does happen. So always look out for this. Manually notice that the same buyer has purchased two separate cards from two separate orders. In this case, Sheldon R. Blattner purchased two different Jaden Daniels cards on two different orders, one ending in 19231 and one ending in 55833. And so what I've done is since I realized this, I was able to purchase one shipping label, copy the tracking number, and then add tracking manually to the second order, thus marking it as shipped. So there are three very specific scenarios. One is where you will manually combine shipping to the same buyer because they bought multiple items from you via sending an invoice and then changing the shipping total before you send the invoice. Scenario 2 is when eBay automatically combines shipping, but the buyer pays double for shipping or even triple for shipping, depending on how many items they bought. And then you should issue a refund to your buyer, which I showed you in scenario 2. And then scenario 3 is sometimes buyers pay for multiple separate orders. And so I want you to not overspend on shipping and put yourself in a position where then your buyer would want a discount on that. So combined shipping on eBay is a thing that you should look for as a buyer and you should look out for as a seller. Thanks, everybody. That's pretty freaking good, Lefty. I'm not gonna lie.
Bro,
I'm sorry, but that's
I think you should have. I think you should have gone back to the like rock music that was playing at twice speed there for a second. It's like
I mean, feeding the ducks on crack there.
Oh, that's what it was. It's feeding the ducks.
But that is a really freaking good tip though, because there are those three different scenarios, and you need to know about them, and you need to know about a lot more. So go to nooffseason.com, take sports card school, whether you're brand new to the hobby or even if you've been into the hobby for several years or anywhere in between, you're going to learn from sports card school. There's so much at nooffseason.com. Lefty, McKee, anything else you want to add before we hit him with the outro?
It's 82 cents a day. Boom.
Thanks so much for being here with us on the Sports Card Strategy Show. If you enjoyed the content on today's show, there's plenty more waiting for you at nooffseason.com. Just go to nooffseason.com right now and get a free 30-day trial. You get our formula-based sports card rankings, sports card school, inventory tracker, the ability to grade with us, and the premium podcast where we answer an unlimited amount of your questions. Check it out right now at nooffseason.com. For everyone at nooffseason.com, I'm Paul Hickey. Thanks again for being here with us on the Sports Card Strategy Show. We'll see you again soon. Have a great day.